We are live, and may I add, we are on time. Actual 9 o'clock start, and I mean real, on the nose, 9 o'clock start. Hello and welcome back to Talk Talk Live. I'm just waiting for this, let me see, update. Okay, we ready to go here? I'm just going on the YouTube front, but on Instagram, we are live, we are live, we are live. Hello and welcome to Talk Talk Live. I have returned back from my little bit of winter sojourn where I could not do the Talk Talk Live at once. I am just working here to make sure that these guys are ready to go. Hopefully things go well over here. But again, thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live on Instagram. We are live on Instagram. I'm trying to get my YouTube channel to get going here. I don't know what is going on. Let me close this quickly. I don't know what's going on. Yes, indeed. But again, thank you very much for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Give me one moment, people. The one time I want to go live and start. Okay, we're good. Great. We are started. Okay, we are ready. We are live here on Talk Talk Live. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Talk Live. We are live on IG and YouTube. I don't know what happened with that little stallation here, but we are back and we are live. And I thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. How you been? How you doing? Yes, I am back, my people. Your man E-Rock is back for another show, for another day with you. I hope you are well. I hope you got through January okay. And we are into February right now. And yeah, I'm starting to feel the love. I'm starting to feel the great weather. And we're starting on time. We started on time. Yes, indeed, we did start on time. So again, thank you very much for joining me on Talk Talk Live. And I hope you enjoyed your President's Day. I hope you enjoyed your Family Day here in Canada. I hope you enjoyed your Valentine's Day. I hope you were met up with someone you love, even if it is yourself. I know there's this Galentine's Day and this me day for Valentine's Day. But again, I had a very romantic Valentine's Day weekend, and I hope you did as well. And yes, shout out to the lady who I am seeing now. Hello, how are you? And she'll go nameless because I don't want any sort of disdain or any sort of vitriol cast her way. But anyways, got the haircut, got the look, and had a nice little long weekend with her this weekend. Oh, that was great. Especially the happy ending. Anyway, we move on. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Talk Live on IG and YouTube. We're going to get right into it, people. And yes, the new marriage statistics are out. The U.S. Census has been studied for 2022, and the new marriage statistics are out there, and it makes for sober reading. So that's why I titled this show Black Marriage Statistics for Better or for Worse. And it is showing you, it is definitely showing you the shifting sands, the shifting tides of marriage in America, and in particular, black marriage in America. And yes, we're going to get into this tonight on Talk Talk Live. Thank you very much for joining me. Sponsored by Dun Talk. Yes, sponsored by Dun Talk. DUNTALK.com. Soon to come is the spring summer line, which will be out very shortly. Because again, spring and summer is around the corner. Next month is March. Next month is spring. And we are out of the winter solstice. Can you believe it? We are nearly out of the winter solstice, people. I can't believe it myself. But if you saw it outside today, where I'm at in Toronto, it was a lovely day. Great day for a walk. Great day for a run. Great day just to be outside. To be fair and frank. And yeah, I hope you got a chance to enjoy it. But if not, I hope you enjoy yourself, as I always say, in your neck of the woods. So let's get into this right now on Talk Talk Live. Thank you very much for joining me. And let us begin with the browser. We're going to get into this right now. And as you can see, we're going to feature, again, the one, the only media man on this. Because he is a statistician. He is a man who works with the United States Health Board, and is a statistician for them, and he's one for the military. And again, he's gone deep into these statistics and has brought up some pretty sobering numbers. And so he did it on this show last week, which I tried to get, which I wanted to feature first on my first comeback show. His show is being New Black Interracial Marriage Rates Have Been Released. An unexpected high for one group. An unexpected high for one group. Let's see who that group is. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. Shout out to my man, Media Man. Please go subscribe to Media Man. He's doing wonderful things in the YouTube streets. And he is keeping us all on our toes and all our P's and Q's with regards to statistics, including involving the African American / African diaspora man. And and he's listen, man, he's standing up for us. He's standing up for us big time. But again, he is here just to bring out some sobering truths here on Talk Live, especially just after Valentine's Day. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I think he brought this out around Valentine's Day, and it was indeed his podcast regarding new black interracial marriage rates have been released, an unexpected high for one group. So we're going to get into it right now. So let me go into the full screen. As you can see, there it is. And I have everything lined up. So I'll let my man explain, and we'll go again here on Talk Live. Thank you very much for joining me live on IG and YouTube. Sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTALK.com. Glad to be back. We're ready to go, and here we go.
As soon as possible. And I want to be the first to share with you all and also break them down step by step so you guys can basically understand what we're talking about. And we're going to compare those to 2020's statistics. Because if you look on blackdemographics.com, they have the statistics that we're usually quoting from 2020, and it was reported in 2021. These were actually reported from the year 2022.
So,
I mentioned this before. I said when the new marriage statistics come out, it's going to give you an overall view of what marriage looks like in the black community as a whole. And it's going to shock some people because this is, like I said, it's everybody. Caribbean, African, African American, so on and so forth. Whoever identifies as black, that's what we're looking at, right? And we're going to see.
So again, just to let you know, the last U.S. Census data only accounted for African Americans, those who were born in the United States. This round of statistics, black marriage statistics, come from not only African Americans, though the ADOS, those African descendants of slaves, also African Americans who were born in the United States during these times, but also from immigrants. Not only from the Caribbean, not only from Africa, but from anywhere in the world. You can be from anywhere. If you're from Europe, if you're from South America, anywhere. So again, this accounts for all immigrant and domestic populations. So this is a very, very thorough account, and it makes for, again, sober viewing, as we will soon to discover right now. Let's get into it.
What populations increase, what populations decrease, and we're going to look at the separated numbers, divorce, all that type of stuff. I think the black community needs to see this. So the number of black people living in the United States reached a new high of 47.9 million in 2022. The marriage statistics are going to correlate with the population statistics. They were both reported in 2022. Up about a third, 32% since 2000. So this goes back to that one drop rule. I know you guys hear the black community talk about this, which basically means if you have one drop of black blood in your system, then you can identify yourself as black. That's why they said this group is diverse. So instead of just looking at the African American population, which would alleviate the Caribbean, black folks, and also members from the continent, black people from the continent, we're looking at the whole group, which is very important because typically we only look at the people in the U.S. So instead of alleviating them from the population, we're putting all of them together. In this analysis...
So again, guys, what I failed to mention and what has been mentioned here is the fact that we're not only taking into account those from two-parent African diaspora households, two black parent households. We're talking about those who are mixed race, because they're included in our amount of census too. So those who are, mixed with black and white, those who are mixed with black Afro-Latino, those who are mixed with Afro-Asian, those who anywhere mixed with any amount of blood, because again, as has been said by E.B. Du Bois way back in the day, in the 1900s, if you have a drop of black into, you're considered black for the African American community. So it's taken into account all of these people from all over the world, from any immigrant population and domestic, and any racial background and domestic. So all these people are being pulled together as one and have been included in these statistics on marriage. So let's continue.
The black population is made up of three main groups: single race, non-Hispanic black people, non-Hispanic, multiracial black people, and black Hispanics. So, notably, the number of people self-identifying as another race in addition to black has increased nearly 254%. We are becoming a more interracial type of culture. It's just something that we're going to have to accept. The black community as a whole cannot afford to be dismissing people from our pool of successful millionaires, entrepreneurs, so on and so forth. We can't afford to do that because this is the future. 2020.
Good point there by Media Man, in that, yes, we have to take our successor from anywhere and everywhere. We got to take our population from anywhere and everywhere. So anyone who identifies as black, anyone who considers themselves black, or as they say, mixed race, anybody, they need to be included in the African diaspora, African American, African Canadian, African European, African British, African British society. They need to be included because, again, I mean, in let's say in England, where I was just recently traveling, there's only about 3% of the population which is considered black. 3%. So again, any sort of racial diversity that to which there is a black attachment to it is and should be automatically included in the numbers of the population. And to be fair and frank, do other races tend to take these individuals on? Probably not. But the black people, we tend to be very, very welcoming of these individuals and consider African American. I mean, there are despots which reject these individuals in and of itself. But again, yeah, hold on just one moment. I'll be right back. Do not go anywhere. Yes, we are back live. Sorry about that. I was just called away on an emergency, but I am back. I have returned. So again, let's continue with this. So as I was saying before, our black population is very diverse, very multiracial, and it is for good reason. Anyway, so let's continue.
47.9 million people identify as black. The people who identified as black and Hispanic was 2.9 million. Multiracial, 5.4 million black people identify as multiracial. Look at that increase from 2000, 1.5 million, to now 5.4 million. And then you go to 2010, 2.5 million to 5.4 million. Single race, 39.6 million. So typically
So let's just go back to those statistics again quite quickly. Let's just go back here. It is a sharp And listen, this is not. I mean, just because it's for African American, these are African American statistics. That doesn't mean it's not happening around the world. It is absolutely prevalent in such societies as the UK, where half of the babies which are born, I would say more now, half of the babies born in the UK are of mixed race. Half of them are of mixed race, including some of my family, of course. If I haven't mentioned it before, well, now it's of course. But anyways, half of them are mixed race. If you go into Europe, those numbers are relatively the same. If you go into Canada, definitely so. Here in Canada, that mixed race babies are on the real increase, especially the further you get away from the major markets like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. So you can extrapolate these figures throughout the Western world. Quite simply, you can, absolutely can. And again, as you can see, 2.9%, 2.9% of the African American population are Black Hispanic. 5.4 million, 2.9 million are Black Hispanic. 5.4 million are multiracial, single race, or from a two Black parent household. 39.6 million. So again, it makes for sober reading, because at one time it was, Black Hispanic 1 million, multiracial 1.5 million. That's jumped to that's nearly doubled basically. Actually, it's quadrupled in multiracial and from 2000, and I would say doubled in terms of Black Hispanic. What is that showing you? This is becoming much more of a cosmopolitan society. People are considering other options outside of their race, and these numbers were only going to grow. They're only going to grow. The Black family as we know it is changing seismically. Absolutely seismically. And I bore witness to this. I have definitely bore witness to this. So don't be surprised if these numbers continue to increase. You can see it here on Talk Live on YouTube over time. This is not a passing phase. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a passing phase. This is something that will only increase with time and only increase with familiarity, because again, this is going to add to the whole statistic regarding white or Caucasian people having the hegemony in terms of population in, I would say, the United States, because that's going to be changing over the next, I would say, 10 to 15 years, where it's going to be more of an immigrant population, more of a diverse population, and white people won't have that 50% anymore. That will be going down, and that's no doubt due to Hispanic and Black people and mixed race people having babies, and that's being on the rise, and their birth rate being on the rise. But let's continue.
To now, 5.4 million. And then you go to 2010, 2.5 million to 5.4 million. Single race, 39.6 million. So typically what we hear in these spaces, people use the number of 42 million Black folks, because you have about 22 million Black women and 20 million Black men. That number comes from African Americans as a whole. So let's look at the 2021 marriage statistics. These were reported from. And
just to let you know, as a sidebar, there are when you take into account immigrant population, mixed race population, and historically African American population, two Black parent household, it accounts for about 47 million Black people of all colors, of all shades, live in the United States. So that's about 14% of the population, which is, I would say, the largest in the Western world. I don't know about Brazil's statistics. That would have to be studied. But that is a I think it's a rather normal part. I think it's been hanging around that 10 to 15% of the population for, I would say, the last 2 generations. So yeah, those numbers are only going to continue to grow once we start taking into account mixed race individuals to the African American population. Because as they say, once you go Black, you pretty much never go back. But let's continue.
From 2020, reported in 2021, 85% of black men had a black wife, 8% had a white spouse, 4% had a Hispanic spouse, and 3% had other, were married to another race of women. And I want you guys to see something, so I want to be very clear on this.
Okay, let's just reverse that just quickly so you can get to see this on Talk Live quite quickly. I've been featuring this on my show for many a month. I would say since the year I've been doing this on my own. This is a pie chart that I have featured pretty much religiously every quarter for the last year. No doubt about that. That this is the marriage statistics in 2021, and this going from a 2020 census. So we're moving. So 85% of black women have a black. 85% of black men have a black wife, and then that's subdivided between white spouse, Hispanic spouse, and other spouses. And then of black married women, 93% have a black husband, and that's been they intersperse that between white, Hispanic, and other husbands of said individuals. So again, that's what we've been featuring the last, I would say, every quarter of my show here on Talk Live. So now we're going to go into the new ones, the new statistics. Yes, we're going into the new, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into this right now. Shout out to King Onan. I hope everything's well in Dallas, sir. Let's continue.
Had a Hispanic spouse, and 3% had other, were married to another race of women. And I want you guys to see something, so I want to be very clear on this. Look at the top there. What does it say? Black marriage in 2021. Among non-Hispanic African Americans aged 15 and up. It's only certain states that you can get married at 15 or some foolery like that, but I didn't include those. They only reported the numbers for African Americans. Now let's look at black women. 93% of them had a black husband, as opposed to 4% with a white husband, 2% with Hispanic, and 1% other.
Okay, just before we go there, it's a very important point he raised, and that is, of those statistics, they were only taken of African Americans, those born in the United States. Simple. They did not include an immigrant population. They did not include a mixed race population. Only those who were of African American descent. These new statistics now, they involve not only African Americans, but also those from the continent, those from the Caribbean, those from South America, those from Europe, anybody of an immigrant population living in the United States who considers themselves part of the African diaspora. And not only those, but also those who are of mixed race. Let's continue.
33% of black men were married, as opposed to 27% of black women, 30% combined. This is what y'all came to see. These are the new statistics. Starting here, black men in the U.S. are more likely than black women to be married to someone who is not black. Let's stop right there. What did I tell you? Nothing changes. These numbers have been the same, and they have been steady for about 30 years now.
I want to read this point right here. This part right here that you need to hear about. Perhaps more striking, the share of blacks in the marriage market have remained more or less constant, yet their intermarriage rate has more than tripled. Let me read it again. Perhaps more striking, the share of blacks in the marriage market has remained more or less constant, yet their intermarriage rates have more than tripled. So guess what? When it comes to marrying each other, it's pretty much similar. It's pretty much standard. If you go back here for a little bit, I'll just blow this up here and Talk Live on YouTube. Yes, black adults marrying black adults. It was, well, it's about 85%. Well, it's about 83% who are married to black people and 70% married to non-black people, which is, I would say pretty standard in terms of marrying to black people, and in terms of men and in terms of women. But what has steadily increased is the not black number, the non-black number. With men, 21% of black men who are married, who are of marrying age, in the United States, and I have no doubt those numbers are highly increased in other Western world countries, are married outside their race. That's an increase from 15% in 2020, only 2 years ago. 2 years, we've seen a 7% increase. In terms of black women, they were once married at a 93% clip. Now they're made at 87%, and that's gone up to 13%. So they are indeed, black men and black women from the United States, finding more love, more than triple the love, outside of their race. That's staggering. Within a 2-year time frame. That's staggering. Stunning to be believed. Now again, you can think about it, and I mean these statistics were mainly consist of men from the Caribbean and from Africa, which is basically homogeneous African diaspora societies. Yet the numbers have gone up. They've gone up. And even though it has gone up for women, that number, and they've, from similar statistics, taken it down from 6%. They used to be married at a 93% to mainly black men. That's gone up down to 87%. But look at the statistic for black men. From 85% to 79%. And we're going to put this in perspective in just a bit, but that is staggering, people. More and more often, love is being found outside rather than inside the race these days, especially in the Western world. Especially with African American men who have a choice. And we were warning you about it, but here it is. Plain, simple English, plain, simple statistics. Let's go.
Black women to be married to someone who is not black. Let's stop right there. What did I tell you? Nothing changes. These numbers have been the same, and they have been steady for about 30 years now. Black men are more likely to be married to non-black women. Even though Loving versus Virginia...
No. He's absolutely right. Think about it this way. Of new marriages, more than likely, they will be... Any sort of black marriage that there is out there will tend to be interracial. That is stunning news. That is really sobering news. That black men are starting to look outside of their race first, then their own. That black women are starting to look outside of their race more so than their own. And the numbers are dwindling. So I remember a couple weeks back, we were talking about how Hispanics and Asian women usually lead the interracial dating stakes. Those numbers are being closed now. In large numbers. In large numbers. It was of the Hispanic population, I think 40% of Hispanic Americans were married interracial. Of those who were married, of the Hispanic diaspora, were married interracially. We're starting to close those numbers. We're starting to close in on those numbers as of today. We're not as race loyal as we used to be. We're not as race loyal as we used to be. Let that be said. Let that sink in. And we've been warning you all through the year on Talk Talk Live about these numbers, and here's the proof. It's here now. Let's go.
Virginia, a white man and a black woman were actually
Let's get this part here.
marriage.
On a hot
Because basically this is explaining Loving in Virginia. Let's go
law enforcement
forward.
officers burst into the bedroom of Mildred and Richard Loving.
Okay,
and
so let's
placed
go
them on-
here.
There's a 6% increase. And remember, this encompasses all black men, not just African American, all black men. Black women from 93% to now 87%. That is another 6% difference. And we're including all black women. Nothing has changed in regards to black men marrying outside of their race, even when you include Caribbean black men, African black men from the continent. Nothing has changed. Same thing for black women. So when you include that racial, those groups, nothing changes. So now let's look at black men. A little over 1 out of 5 married black men are married to a non-black woman.
Guys, let that sink in. Please let that sink in. 1 out of 5 black men are married outside of their race in the United States. 1 out of 5. And those numbers will increase over time. I have no doubt within the next 2 years, that'll get to a quarter of black men are married interracially. Yeah, it's like that. And I have no doubt those numbers are replicated in other Western world countries, especially Canada and in the UK. I guarantee you that. Well, I'm sure that half the black men are married in the UK are married interracially. I can guarantee you that. They don't have. I don't believe they have the stats on that. I will have to research that, but I can guarantee you that is the case. Followed shortly behind by Canada. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. And look who's following suit. The United States. Where you thought that was so racially divided, no, they're getting over that. Because the United States has become more of a melting pot than ever before. There aren't these barriers and all these limits being put up among people. Now, some people would see that as a good thing. See that as a great thing. But the ideal of a black family is, I wouldn't say it's going away, but it's being challenged. Let's say that. It is being challenged. The African American family, its image is changing. Actually, it may just be going the way of the dodo. You never know. Especially the more cosmopolitan that people are, the more familiar people are with each other, and those things are. So if you are an advocate of, interracial marriage, interracial dating, swirling, passport broism, congratulations. The number reflects your choice in women. I mean, black people still hold hegemony, but those are sobering thoughts. And that's only after 2 years. After 2 years of statistics, 2 years of a census, the changes are being reflected in the numbers. And it is truly, truly a sobering ideal. A sobering truth, as they say.
1 out of 5. That is crazy. Now y'all gonna start listening, black community? Every time we have these conversations about black women being more marriageable than black men, or black women, you have to exclude the number of black men who are in prison, so on and so forth. They never include the fact that black men are going to continue to progress more so than black women, and they have.
And they fail to include that 96% of black men are out of jail. I always want to remind you of that, because this idea of most black men being in jail is a lie. The help perpetuated by black women themselves, which is a shame. But as you can see, black men are being married at a higher rate, as will be seen throughout this video. That's another revelation. A lot of people see black men as being unmarriageable. Well, they're being more marriageable than black women. I keep telling you, black women are the least married women on the planet, especially those from the Western world. And stats don't lie. Let's continue.
Have the same way in marriage. Yes, black women have increased 6% as well, but not to the point that 1 out of 5 of black women are married out. That's black men now. And I even broke it down for you guys. Let's go step by step. Let me show you something. So, in 2020, 93% of married black women were married to black men, while 7% were married to non-black men. Married black women. In 2020, it was 26%. 2022, it is now 29%. And I also added a caveat. I added the 3% if you add the separated, because I've seen some videos around there where people were trying to refute the evidence. Well, if you add the separated population of black women, then they're more married than black men. Absolutely not. I did this for a particular reason. So I gave you the actual number of married, and then they also separate the separated. I added the 3%. So that will be 32% in 2022. I just want to be clear. Hitting it from all angles. And when I say black women, I'm talking about all black women. Now, in 2000...
Now, that's something to be commended for black women. More black women are getting married, because they realize that you can't live this life as a boss chick alone. So there are more black women being married. Let's give them their due. Let's give them their credit. More black women being married. This is great. This is great. This is great to see, and that black women understand that they can't live alone in this society unless they have a great family environment, or, they have a lot of money. But most of them don't. So they know they need a man in their lives in order to get through life, and so more black women are getting married these days, which is good. It's very, very good. And I'm starting to see uptick in that, as was shown in that last slide. But watch this.
2022, 87% of married black women were married to non-black men, while 13% were married to non-black men. In 2020, 85% of married black men were married to black women, while 15% were married to non-black women. Fast forward, married black men. 2020, 33%, now 36%. If you add separated, 39%, a little under 40% of black men are married.
40%, 39%, let's get exact here. 39% of black men, a third of black men, are either married or separated. %. So this idea that black men don't get married, they're deadbeats, they're dropouts, they're a waste of time and space, and not a good candidate for marriage is a lie. Because the marriage statistics are going up. There it is. 36% of black men, a third of black men are married now. A third of black men are married. Nearly 40% are married or separated. So they're still holding on to their vows. They're still considered married. Separated. It's a decree nisi. It's not a decree. It's not a decree absolute. Decree absolute is when you're divorced. That's when you are counted out of those statistics. You're still counted in if you're 39%. That's a 40% of black men are married. We're reaching Hispanic white numbers now in terms of marriage because black men understand that we need to stay out of trouble, we need to build families, and we need to get married. And they're rising. Black men understand that you cannot get through life without a partner. Full stop, end of sentence. You can't get through this economy that is cratering on itself right now because we're heading into a recession, people. We need each other now more than ever. The age of the boss chick is slowly dwindling and dying. And the age of black men being in jail, considered as such, are dying in and of itself. There is. I just want you to see that. I want you to see that. Here on Talk Live. Let me see if there's any. It's just staggering numbers. It's just amazing how I see these things out here. But let's continue. Let's continue to get into this. We got to break this down. We got to peel this banana. So the myth of black men being deadbeats, dropouts, ineligible for marriage can solely be put to pasture. Let me move this camera down here so I can get my whole hand there. There we go. Let's continue.
Married black men are married. If you add the separated. In 2022, 79% were married to black women, while 21% were married to non-black women. I want to be clear on that. So, in that same report, they actually give you a link to go to the population. So basically what you guys are going to see here and how I broke this down so we can have a more accurate description of the numbers. This is the black U.S. population detailed by tables. So if you look at here, it says black population total. The marriage numbers are based off the total black population. So what did I do? Instead of using the U.S. born, I use all black people because you have the foreign born, which is about 5 million. And they actually break everything down for you as well, even by state, mind you. So you guys can check this information out for yourselves. So what I did for this next picture that you guys are going to see, I simply removed the black people that are reported as younger than 5 years old. You guys see that? I removed younger than 5 years old. I removed 5 to 9 years old. I removed 10 to 14 years old. Let me be clear. I removed 15, 16, and 17, and I kept 18 and 19. I did that by percentage, by 20 percentiles. So you have 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. That adds 100%. You have 5 age categories, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that leaves us with the 18 and 19. That's 40%. So that's how I got this information that you guys are going to see here in a second. So basically what I did was remove those from here, right here, bam, bam. And I did that for both male and female. And remember, these are my approximates. So there were about 6.9 million black males under the age of 18. That is the population that I removed because we don't want to include them in the marriage rates because they are not of legal age to get married. And we're going to use just from 18 and up. Black males over 18, that comes out to 16.1 million. 16.1 million black men over the age of 18. That married population is 5.8 million. That equates to 36%, which you guys just saw, right? Married black men with you when you include separated, 39%. There you go. And that 3% equated to this amount. That's what you guys see right there. The 485,000. So for black females under 18, it was 5.9 million. So if you look here, I want you guys to see something real quick. There's more black men born than black women. However, and this may get very dark, when black men age, we start to die at a younger age. So that's why when we progress into older ages, you see black women start to outnumber black men. So even though there's more black boys that are born, black women still outnumber us when you extrapolate the population numbers out to every age demographic. So that's why you see more black men from 18 and below as opposed to black women. And that's why I talk so much about prevention and so on and so forth. Because a lot of these things that black men are doing are very preventable. You know?
She gets me, I get her. We talk about life.
I'm going to skip this part, but I want to just mention two things. Shout out to Medium
1
Man.
million over the age
Let me
of
pause this right
18,
here.
whereas black females over the age of 18.
Just going to put this back on the big screen. Shout out to Medium Man for compiling these statistics. As I mentioned, Medium Man is a statistician by profession. He's involved with the U.S. Board of Health, and he does this for a living. So he is willing. He understands how to extrapolate these numbers and break them down to their to their very, very barest number and compound. So again, shout out to Medium Man for doing that for us. Number one. Number two. Let it be said that these numbers here are very much, let me just see if yes. These numbers here in terms of the African American population, and in particular how African American males and pretty much black men around the world tend to die younger than black females, and it's all involving healthcare, is a number that we need to rectify in and of itself. I think a lot of black men do not take their health seriously. I have recently had my physical done myself. I've had my battery test done myself. I've had a clean bill of health put on me, which is fantastic. And not a lot of black men do that. A lot of black men neglect their health until it's too late. And that needs to change. And that's, I think, a good reason why there's a dwindling population of black men going into their 60s, 70s, and 80s, into their elderly age, and black women outnumber black men because black women tend to, and I give them full credit for this, they tend to take their health much more seriously than black men do. And they tend to outlive black men, period. So shout out to black women for that as well. We have to give credit where credit is due. Black women take better care of themselves in terms of their health than black men do. And that has to change. That is a definite need for change, especially in a country like Canada where there is universal health care. There's no reason why black men should be dying early. Here. In the States, I understand because, again, your health care is tied to your work, and if you're out of work, but that is changing in and of itself, especially with African Americans becoming more affluent these days. So there is no reason why African American men should be dwindling in the as they get older, and more African American women tend to outlive us. Because as you were saying, there are more black men being born, but they only live to a certain age, and therefore there are more black women at the end of the day than black men because black men die earlier. And we'll go into the statistics about that in a bit. But again, that has to change, and I hope you do, because I take my health seriously, and you as a black man, if you're watching this show, need to do it as well. Let's continue.
'18 is now 18.8 million. That's a little over a 2 million difference in the population now. Now, for black women, married black women, 5.4 million. That equates to 29%. We just went over that. And then black women, married black women, when you add separated, is 6.2 or 6 million. 6 million married black women when you add the separated population. So you look here, 6.3 for black men, 6 million for black women. Now, why is that important? The reason why this is important is because there's more black women that are 18 or over than black men. But there's still more married black men. That's why this is important. And not only that, this is not just the African American community. This is amongst all black men and all black women. So when we have this conversation about who wants to get married the most, right? Then we need to start focusing our attention on who needs the most help right now. Black women.
Let that sink in. Let it sink in. How is it a race of women, African American women, who have more in terms of populace than African American men, have lower marriage statistics than those African American men themselves, and those are from all races. Remember, all races, all mixed races, all backgrounds, African Caribbean, African, other. How come all these gentlemen how come African American men of all shapes, sizes, colors, traditions are married more than black women are? And he's right. Everybody says that black men don't get married. That's a lie. It's already been shown. Nearly 40% of black men are either married and separated. At least a third of us are married. And that's going up. I would say in the next 10 years, that'll go up to 40 to 45% when they understand that you can't live out here alone. You'll take 2 incomes in order to start a family, be in a home. Just to get through life, period, you need 2 incomes. Goes without saying. And we understand that, and that's why black men are married to a higher degree. Those who did not get the memo are black women. They're still the least married women on the planet. Even though they outnumber us, they're married to a lesser extent. Even though those numbers have arisen, let me say that, but they're still married to a lower percentage. So what's the problem? Is it black men? Nope. It's clear black men want to get married. It's just, as it's been shown on Talk Live, my theory is there are a certain segment of black men who are literally written off and written out of the marriage sweepstakes because they're not tall enough, charming enough, good looking enough, strong enough, protective enough, earn enough. Take your pick. Remember, I think it's 48% of men altogether from all races get to breed. And those numbers are going to dwindle as we move into, as the gynocracy and the feminist era come full circle here in this matriarchal society these days. The more matriarchal society it is, the more men will be ostracized from the dating, mating, marriage sweepstakes. And yet, black women in particular, who need the help, who need to get married, are trailing in and of itself. So why? Why? Let's get into it.
That's why I keep telling these panel shows, man, y'all focus on the wrong folks. It only makes sense, guys. Stop using stuff for clickbait and entertainment. I know it feels good to be like, well, black men ain't marriageable. How? All of us are married at a higher rate. Let's keep going. And that's the difference when you add that separated percentage. Remember, from that 18 and over, 565,000. So the marriage difference, if you just look at without separated, is 358,000 more married black men as opposed to black women. And then when you add the married versus separated, there's a higher percentage of black women. So that's why their 3% adds a lot more people. But it's still approximately 277,000 more married black men, even when you add the separated. So do y'all see why I've been trying to stress this? Why I've been telling people to start focusing on black women? That's why you guys continuously see me debunk the narrative that when black men get married to non-black women, they get divorced at a higher rate. Debunk that, because that's going to give black women a false sense of hope. Even when black men do get married to white women, they get divorced immediately, not knowing that even that study was based off of 10 years and higher. So they weren't saying that black men get married 1 year and then the next year they get divorced to black or to white women. No, it was over a 10-year time span. So if black women as a whole increase their interracial marriages, black men increase their interracial marriages at the same rate. But it makes it even worse when you look at that 1 out of 5 married black men are now married to non-black women.
Black women, we've already understood that all these other races of women are coming for your men. Black men are the second most desired men on dating apps, next to white men. You're not understanding that if a good black man leaves, chances are he's not coming back. So you need to cherish that black man for what he is. Or else somebody else will find him. Because we tend not to be gay. We tend not to be in jail. 96% of black men are out of jail. We tend not to be gay because only 3% of black men are gay. We tend not to be bad fathers. Actually, we tend to be some of the best fathers that there are out there. And those have been debunked. And now we tend to be one of the most marriageable. Where a third of us, bordering on 40% of us, are either married and separated. The stats don't lie. We are catches these days, ladies. Not to say that you aren't as well, but let me say this. There are more of you. And less of you being married. Stats don't lie. So what are we to do about these things, ladies? Are you gonna start letting black men in again? Because let me tell you something. If you give them, if it's a respectable black man being put out to other races, they're starting to take them. Especially the white women, especially Hispanic ladies, Asian ladies, all races. Starting to take them in. Starting to study them. Starting to study your culture. Starting to study your music. Starting to study what black men are into. Style of dress, their tastes, everything. As has been stated by, I forget the name of the professor, but has been stated by T.S. Johnson. There we go. Bang. Got it. T.S. Johnson. And he has a class in African American Studies in the United States. You know who enrolls in those courses more than ever these days? White women. Because they want to know who African American men are. I can't lie. You know who leads the statistics in terms of birth rates, in terms of mixed race children around the... It's black men, because white women are entertaining them. They're loving them. They're marrying them. They're going out. But anyways, let me continue this in the second hour. We're going to finish up this chat quite soon. There's only a bit of time here, but I thought I'd continue the time here. So coming back to us on Talk Live, live on IG and YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you in just a few moments. Continuing here on YouTube, and we'll talk soon. Peace. Going? Okay. Thank you very much for keep joining me on Talk Live here, live on YouTube. Just going to check the chats here and see if we have anything going right now. We're still good to go. Okay, so, indeed, what does that leave us? Where does that leave us, people? Where does that leave us? Yes, we're good there. So we're good there. There we go. Yes. So where does that leave us, black women? Yes, you can swirl. Yes, you can do what you like. But the fact of the matter is there's only a certain amount of black women any sort of race will take. As will be seen by the statistics. As has been seen by the statistics. You tried really for the last 40, 50 years, but concerningly over the last generation. And those numbers have creeped upward, but not as much as black men. Not as much. Nowhere near as close. So that means, let's face it, the only ones who are there for your salvation are your own men, and those men are being snapped up by the competition. They're offered more fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive wives from outside the race who will get on a man's plan and will consider a black man a leader in the household. And he doesn't have to fight them when he gets home. So if it's like, here's a good analogy. It's like a let's see, there we go. Consider it like the historical black colleges and universities and the HWAs, the historically white college, the HWCs, the historically white colleges and universities, and historically black colleges and universities. The fact of the matter is, you want to go back to a black college, but the thing about it is, you're going to find a lot of pushback. You're going to find a lot of deficient programs. You're not going to have the sort of funding that one needs in terms of sport teams. You're not going to be as I said, well funded, not as well supported. You're not going to find scholarships for these as you would at historically white colleges. The fact of the matter is, when you go to, and I haven't done so, you go to other races, they're giving you more incentives. So guess what? So you're going to find a fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive women in other races than they would. That's no problem. That's a given to them. Obesity rates in African American communities, let alone around the world, are at the largest with African American women. There's a start. You're not as fit as these other girls. So guess what? They're winning. They're starting to win. I've shown you this all through the months on Talk Live. You don't keep yourself fit, you're in trouble. And these girls are keeping themselves fit. Oh my God. They're more feminine. They're more submissive. They're more cooperative. They're more friendly. To start, okay, the divorce rates we've seen over 10 years, we've just seen that, but that's all you need to get a man to sign on the dotted line. And you're not willing to change your ways, black women, I tell you, you're starting to lose them. And it's not as if anybody else is taking you. You can see the rates. It's going up. Yes, it's increasing. However, not as much as you would for black men. Sorry. Not happening. And that speaks towards yourselves, not anybody else. Because you've been trying this for 50 years. You've been trying it for longer than that. It's just that it hasn't been so well publicized. Because when it comes to sexual access, black women have always had that. They've always had that entry. They've always had the ball. They've always had the ball in terms of a chance with white men. It's the fact of the matter is you're being fetishized. And they don't consider you a good candidate. They consider you for a good time, but don't consider you a good candidate for marriage. In most races. And what lets you down is your image in pop culture. They see you as a bad deal. Well, black men, they see us with more success in entertainment and the sporting industry. So therefore, there's a monolith. There's a sort of epitaph. Well, there's a sort of archetype of black men out there who are winners, who are succeeding, who are virile, who are protective and provided. Hell, you go outside any sort of, and I'm sorry about this, is more stereotypical. Go outside any sort of club that's out there. What are black men doing? They're offering protection. You don't think women see that? One of the two key points of reference in terms of marriage is that not only can you provide, but can you protect? And everybody knows black men can protect. You're halfway there. All you got to work on is the charm and the wit and the money. Yeah, to a certain extent, the good looks, the game, the frame. You got to work on these certain things, but you already have it in because it. You already have an inside. You already have the inside lane as a black man. And for black women to say that black men ain't, no, it's not, because look at the statistics. Black men are shit. They are the shit. On dating apps, they are the shit. You're not getting this? Are you picking up what I'm putting down, black? You're doing great. You're doing better, but not as better as black men. In every metric, you're not. You simply aren't. So what does that mean? Black men are your salvation. They are your truly only hope. And you need to start concentrating on bringing more black men into the fold and making more black babies and families with them. Because other people are doing it. Right under your nose. And your talk about black men ain't shit is a lie. It's a lie. Every metric shows different. Sorry.
So now do y'all understand why I've been trying to be as stern as I am and calling people out for spreading false narratives about black men? The numbers right there, man. It's from the same report from Pew Research. About a sixth of married black adults, 17%, are married to someone who is not black. And we like to talk about this whole black women are race loyal to black men. They're race loyal to a fault. It's not true. Because when our numbers increase, black women increase as well. But yet, black women are still married to black men at a higher rate. So it's not black women being more race loyal. It's the fact that they may not have as many options as black men. And it shows in the numbers. So
did I just say that? Who's the least wanted ladies on dating apps? Black women. Who's the second most wanted who's the second most wanted men on dating apps? Black men. Who since Loving versus Virginia. Who made up the couple who were the parties in that case? It's a white man and a black woman. And dating a black woman was always taboo, but not anymore. Not anymore. If you're a black man of a certain status, class, stature, charisma, charm, you can get any race of woman out there. Take it from me. Take it from me. And don't talk to me about muscularity, because most of these interracial dating and marriages starting, you know where they start? They start in the gym. Start in the gym. I've seen it. And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. So if you want to find a black women, ladies, guess where you find them? A good amount of them. And you're starting to get there, but a good amount of them are in the gym. They're in your local gym. Go to any one of them. With a black population, with a modicum, with a good amount of populace, you're going to find black men in the gym. And guess what? Guess where these girls are picking black men up? In the gym. There's a secret sauce right there. Fit black men available to you for a subscription fee. And especially with these these videos out there of men being, creeps, gym creeps. You think black men want to touch women right now? No, they're available just for you. Find them out. There's some game for you. I'm helping you out here. But don't think for a second that black men aren't marriageable. Because even though there are less of us in the United States, and more so anywhere else in the Western world, guess who's getting married more?
So that's what that means. So for any black woman that's going out there spreading this false narrative that we don't, if black women like other races of men, then they would date out. I've already did videos on that. Go read the Dating Divide book. Black women have been trying their level best to divest, to swirl. They have books written, commercials, videos, TikTok. They've been promoting swirling and interracial marriage for years. And it's still not working. And that is not the responsibility of black men. Black women who want to swirl or divest have to go to white men or non-black men and ask them why. What do we need to change in order to get married to y'all at a higher rate? Because as of now, white men tend to fancy Hispanic and Asian women as opposed to black women. So if you're a black woman who wants to divest, go ask them what they're doing in order for you to snag a white man.
And I can tell you how they do it. Here's a free game for you black women. I can tell you how they do it. You know what they do? First thing they do is that they know that their man is a leader in their household. They don't try to take over. They just want to take part. All they're asking of their white men is just to be fit. All white men are asking for is to be fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive. Black women are notoriously non-submissive and notoriously non-cooperative, if called upon. And the fitness, let's not talk about fitness. That rules them out right there. Femininity? Most good percent of black women are masculine in their outlook, so that takes them out. And then you talk about friendliness. Are a lot of black women friendly these days? Here's the thing, guys. You've been trying for the last, I would say, good 30 years, and yet you're not making any headway. And yet black men who would be considered crackheads deadbeats, drug dealers and abusers, unfit, and unmarriageable individuals are marrying more than you are. What does that all mean? I ask you. I've already said it, but I'll leave that with you. I'll leave that with you.
Because y'all giving these white men all this free promotion, pasta, lobster, whatever the hell y'all talk about.
Got a white boy on my roster. He be feeding me pasta and lobster. He just hit me up on Tuesday.
I love when I go on my TikTok and I go through my For You page and I see a bunch of black women with white men, or whatever they call it, pasta and lobster.
Pasta and lobster is like the new trend. White boy winter, white boy summer. As a literal girl who had to deal with a Connor, let's call this person Connor. They are literally no better than black men, and I will die on this hill. Also, decenter men from your life in general. Like, just decenter men, and you'll be a lot happier. I never cared about men until I was pressured by everyone to care, and I never did. It never gave I care. So I'm single and happy now. I've always been single, that's the cat. But decenter men are all the same, and all men suck. Remember that.
I'll catch her in 20 years on antidepressants. I will. She's saying all these things while she's young, but she's young. That's the main thing. Let her hit 40 and say those things. That's where she'll find out. Let's go.
And it's still not working. And white men are eating it up to the point that they will put out false narratives to get y'all to continue giving them money, share their videos, because they know that they can milk y'all for whatever you got and still turn around and not marry you all. And that's why I've learned that black women consider dating a white man as a win, as opposed to marriage. So that's why it really doesn't, I mean, all the free promotion, it doesn't make sense if they're not marrying you. So that's something that black women need to focus on, the ones who want to swirl. You know, I mean, it's fun and games, swirl and black men ain't shit. Well, it's safe to say that white men may think y'all ain't shit either. How about that? Black women, in turn, are slightly more likely than black men to be divorced or widowed. Black men die at a higher or at a lower age. But the key thing is this: the divorce rates. There's more black women than black men. 14% of black women divorced, as opposed to 10% of black men. So do we want to revisit this conversation about who's the most divorced?
What was that? Hold on. Put that back for a second. Who divorces more? Say it again, please, media man, please.
Black women divorced, as opposed to 10% of black men.
Sorry. Let me go back again.
The key thing is this: the divorce rates. There's more black women than black men. 14% of black women divorced, as opposed to 10% of black men. So do we want to revisit this conversation?
10% of black men divorce, according to 14% of black women. Okay. We're not supposed to be the marriage type, right? Right? Remember, JC said it. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That's where a lot of these swirler TikTok and Instagram and YouTube pages get it wrong.
About who's the most divorced? Huh, black community? Huh, black women who keep sharing these false narratives that white woman put out? Or do you want to end this conversation right here and start to focus on y'all? That's what I thought. The black community is coming far more diverse than more people could ever imagine. And I know we say that it's just, it was bound to happen. I understand that. But nobody would have saw black men, 1 out of 5 married black men being married to non-black women. I wouldn't have predicted that in my lifetime if you look at the 2000 numbers. And now we're here. And you cannot tell me that these conversations and social media doesn't have an effect on the black community and our relationship issues that we have. You can't tell me that. And I know that, this is just a theory, but we need people to stop minimalizing the voices on social media, especially if they're toxic, especially if they're lying to black women and they're lying about black men. They matter. And y'all see why now.
Thank you to the media man for that commentary. It's a very, very, very good and sobering look at black marriage statistics of today, the newest census poll. Let me go back on my own screen here, and let's just have a quick chat before we end things. We'll get it to about 9:30, and then 10:30 now. We'll call it a day. Here's the thing, ladies, especially black women in particular. The world is getting. What can we take away from this whole night here tonight? The world is getting more diverse. The world is getting more mixed race. The world is getting more cosmopolitan. Now more than ever. There isn't enough land to go on to where you're pretty much alone. You are where you are. And with more societies being mixed, there'll be more mixed race children going forward. Not a bad thing. Here's where the rubber meets the road. Even though black women are getting married at a higher clip, they're still lagging behind black men in and of itself. And the thing about it is, there are some white men and some men of other races giving you pasta and lobster, but believe me, I've always said this. They only take the cream of the crop or someone of a similar ilk. If you're fat, you'll get a fat black woman. If you're rich, you will take the cream of the crop of that race. And that's where most women are moving their sexual energy towards. Those who are able to protect and provide. And you have best be on your A game to get these men of a certain race. Do you need to be fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive? And accent on the cooperative and submissive part. One point where black women in particular fail miserably. Miserably. And so I say this to end things off. Black women, now you can go and swirl if you want, but only a certain percentage of you will be able to get through. Because remember, you have to get through those who are considered the homebodies within a race. Hey, Travis Kelce already showed you the way. He dealt with you black ladies for a certain time, and he said, you know what? I'm going home. I found me a white girl, Taylor Swift, who's fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, and rich. And rich. So I'm going home. Thanks a lot, black ladies. And I'll see you later. That's the majority of all races of men. They tend to be race loyal. So they'll go home. What are you going to do, black women? Are you going to end up alone? Or are you going to start taking your own breed of men seriously? Because for the majority of you, no one's coming for you. The marriage statistics show it. And guess who's coming for your men? Everybody else. 1 in 5 black men are now interracially married. Nearly 40% of black men are married or separated. The numbers don't lie. And especially in these times, recessionary period of the economy times, people need each other more than ever. So guess what a lot of these white women are looking towards? They're looking towards black men. The numbers don't lie. Black men have known this for years. We can always... I've known this for years. I haven't done it, but I've known this for years. There are other races who will take us. Guaranteed. They'll take us. Go to a white woman of a certain ilk, they'll take it. Go to a Hispanic woman of a certain ilk, they'll take for sexual reasons, but in this case, as a marriage candidate. You've got to realize this, black women. A lot of these good black men that you are rejecting because they're not cool enough, they're not tall enough, they don't have the charisma, they don't have the game, they don't have the frame, they don't have the charm, they don't have the wit, they don't have the smell, they don't have the haircut, they don't have the whatever. Other women are literally saying, I'll take you. So a lot of you will end up alone. Or as a baby mom. So if that's your end and goal, all the power to you. But realize that black men are starting to leave you. They're starting to leave you because they realize if they have a child, he'll be considered black. He'll be considered black. So I would say, take heed of the sort of hate you have towards your own men, black men. Because it may just lead to your loneliness. It's been shown around the world. It's been shown in statistics. It's up to you to do something about it. Marry who you want to marry. But guess what? Most of you won't be. Unless you start consider your black men as other races see black men as valuable. And in these recessionary times, that's all more important. Take heed. Take heed. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. We are going to end it right there. It's been going an hour and a half, but thank you very much for joining me. I'm just going to grab a bit to eat. I got a few chores to do, plus I may just get a with Jim session in later on tonight because, hell, I may want to see more black women. Now I have a good lady at home that I'm seeing right now. She's black. I'll tell you about her later. Well, thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. And we're going to leave it there, and I hope you enjoy your night. We'll be back, if not tomorrow, definitely Thursday we're back. We're going to go twice this week. We're going to see about Thursday, if not Friday this week. We're going to try and get a third day. We're going to try and get a third day because I've missed you. I've really missed you. And I thank you for your support on TikTok. TikTok, I'm starting to get my numbers up. Oh, my God. I'm starting to get my numbers up on TikTok. Wow. And I thank you for the support there. I thank you for the support on Instagram and YouTube, YouTube, and Facebook, my old mainstays. Thank you very much for that. But I thank you very much for all the support that you're giving me. And things are improving as we speak and as we go along. So I thank you for all the support you're giving me, and I wish you a very, very good night. I'm going to get myself maybe a mini bite, but I have a few chores to do, so I'm going to get that done. Maybe a bit of work to do as well. So I thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live, and I look forward to seeing you, if not tomorrow, then Thursday. And yeah, black women, please, for the love of Christ, get out of your own way, and find a black man as soon as you can, because. Okay, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. And good night from Toronto. And thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live here on YouTube. It was a great show tonight. Great to be back. And I look forward to doing this again very, very soon. Probably, if not tomorrow, then Thursday night. But again, thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. Thank you for your support on TikTok. Thank you for your support on YouTube. Thank you very for your support on Instagram and on Facebook. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. And again, all the best to you. And we'll see you soon. And good night.